Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about control this powerful invisible force and success will follow. So what is this powerful invisible force that you must harness in order to create success for yourself in this life? So there's actually two parts to it, right? And you can use either of these two parts or both of these in order to become more successful, in order to, be able to control more of your life and basically, in a way, bend reality to your will a little bit to make things happen for you. Okay, so what are these two things? Well, it's either or both, remember, either or both perspiration or desperation. Okay, when people really start to make a change in their life, they either do it through the hard work and dedication, through perspiration, or they change their life through desperation because they've got to the point where they simply have had it and they must change their life. And you hear that sort of thing all the time from people who are perhaps maybe addicts and stuff like that. It gets to a point where they feel like, I just need to stop. I cannot live like this any longer. I'm sick of living like this. And they make that decision and they never go back and do it ever again. Right, so those are the two things that we need to focus on today: perspiration and desperation. So let's first focus on perspiration. Okay, so what does this look like? So I believe, obviously, perspiration obviously goes into hard work, like working really hard towards your goals, working really hard towards the things that you want to achieve. And if you do that, you will eventually succeed if you keep on working hard. But there's another part to that too, which is persistence. Okay, you have to keep persevering. So many people give up when they first run into just a couple of little problems, a couple of little hurdles, right? But ultimately, you need to persist way beyond and probably far longer than what you think you need to in order to get to that level of success. You have to keep on persevering and you have to keep on going. So for example, let's say you're on social media, right? And let's say you've only just started writing blog posts or uploading to YouTube or uploading to TikTok or something like that. Let's say you've only just begun, right? You may say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this like 10 times. I'm going to make 10 videos, and if none of them are successful, then I'll just give up. That's not what you're looking for, right? That's not what is going to help you succeed. What you've got to commit to yourself, right? And you have to really commit. You have to say to yourself, okay, I'm just going to keep on doing this until I get there, until I get that viral video, until I get more followers, until I start getting clients, whatever it may be for you. Okay? That's what you've got. You've got to stick to that, right? And even afterwards, right, as well, because you may get a few, let's say you get a few successful videos or a few successful blog posts, right? Let's say you do that and you achieve that. You've still got to carry on afterwards and carry on working, but perhaps by then you would have gained the audience that maybe you can cut back a little bit or something like that. But ultimately, you have to keep on persisting. And if you can't keep on persisting and you get sick of it and you get tired of it and you get bored of it and you feel burnt out and you want to quit, then maybe that wasn't the right path for you to begin with. But if it's something that you really want and you really want to be able to achieve this, then you have to keep on persisting and keep on doing it, basically. Because if not, then you're not just gonna ever get there, and you're gonna give up, and then maybe later on in your life you're gonna regret and wish that you just persevered just a little bit longer, or you've done more, or you just kept on going until, right? Because what you got to see your success as, you got to see it as this. You got to see it as, okay, it's not a matter of, if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when, okay? So if it could happen, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week, it could happen a month from now, it could happen a year from now, or perhaps it's going to happen from 10 years from now, right? So you have to think in those terms, like, I've just got to keep on going, I've just got to keep on pushing through, I've just got to keep on grinding away, right? And that's what, perspiration is all about, right? And that's one of the ways that you can become successful. And as you can see, it's an invisible force. It's something inside of you. You have to have the power inside of you to persevere, right? Okay, and you've got to harness that. And you have it in you. Every single person has the ability to persevere. And for one example that I can see from most people on the planet, unless something has happened to them that has made them unable to do so, is that every human being can walk. Okay? Every human being can walk. And why is that? It's because when you were a baby, you just kept on going. You didn't give up, right? You just kept on trying and trying and falling and trying and falling and trying and falling and trying and falling until you learnt how to walk. Okay? That's why everyone in the world can walk. Like I said, apart from obviously those people that are incapable of doing so. But every human being is born, most of the time, with legs. And if a human being isn't born with legs, then that means something went wrong, right? But most humans, a healthy human being, has 2 legs that they are able to walk on. And you learned how to do that, okay? Right? And that makes you someone who can persevere because you learned how to do that. You may not remember learning how to do it, but you did. And perseverance is inside of you, so you can do it, okay? So, hard work and persistence, that goes into perspiration, okay? That's one of the ways that you can become successful and like I said, it's something that's invisible. It's something that you have to cultivate within yourself, okay? So the next sign then, so the next part of that, like this invisible force that can help you succeed, is desperation. And we've already touched on it a tiny bit, okay, which is when I was talking about someone who's like a drug addict or addicted to something, and then they finally get to a place where they've had it and they just have to change, and they do because they've made that choice, that concrete choice. So that's something that you need to do as well. You need to get kind of almost sick and tired of the way things are going in order to push you through. Okay? So it's the desperation is then how I would put it as the frantic pursuit of finding a way now, finding all that you can do to become successful in whatever means that you want to, right? It's that frantic pursuit of trying to find a way to make things work now. And you kind of have that almost like every day that you're trying to succeed because you need to push through. Like, for example, if you were starving, if you had not eaten in days or weeks, right? You would eat anything to feel full. You would eat garbage, you would eat trash, you would eat rubbish out of the bin, right? That's one thing that you would do. You probably eat grass as well. You probably eat anything if you were that hungry, okay? And that's the kind of desperation that you need to cultivate for yourself. If you really want change, then sometimes you really do need to get yourself into a desperate frenzy. Because one of the things that can kill your dreams is if you get complacent. Is if you get to a point where you're sort of comfortable, you kind of wish things would change, kind of hoping things are going to change, but you don't have that fire in your belly to achieve it, to actually try harder, to actually become more desperate for it. So if you really want to become more successful, then you need to get desperate for it, okay? So what this means then, essentially, is doing whatever it takes, right? If you have to work longer hours on your goals and your dreams, then that's what you've just got to do. Or if you've got to find new ways of doing things because perhaps you've been trying in an old way and that just hasn't been working. So now you're going to try and change your approach. It doesn't mean that you change your goal, you just change your approach, right? So for example, let's say you've been using the same marketing strategy for a long time, right? And it just hasn't worked out. Right, so maybe what you need to do is not change the product, not change what you're trying to do, but maybe change the marketing strategy and see if that works instead. Right? So it's all about kind of like trying to figure out what the right approach is and what can work. Right? But it's all about getting to this place where you feel desperate, right? And that's, again, something that's very invisible. It's something that is inside you. It's something that you must cultivate and kind of like withdraw from yourself. Right, and draw it out and drag it out and try and get to a place where you feel desperate. Right, just imagine if you was 100% in a job that you hated. You hated your bosses, you hated the people that you worked with, you hated the job itself, and you were desperate, right, to get out of that job. You would do anything. You would be, on all kinds of like job, websites trying to find something different. If you hated your job that much, right, you'd be so desperate to get out of that place if that was how you felt about it. And that's the kind of desperation that you need. You need to have that desperation of, I need to get out of this. I need to change things. Okay? So if you harness the powers of perspiration and desperation, and preferably if you can do both, that would be great, right? Then success definitely will follow you wherever you go. And you will get to where you want to go. You will achieve the things you want to achieve. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.